Our brains aren't the same as everyone else's. But everyone else's brains aren't the same as each other.
Stammering covers a wide range of behaviours.
Stammering can be seen by the public to be a problem with speech because it affects speech, but in reality most people who stammer will know that it's not really a speech problem as such. The speech is the result of what is happening inside their brains.
Do you know that there are more male stammerers than of female stammerer rather? Yeah.
Stammering it's not good.
I would say that stammering is often very misunderstood by a lot of people. It can be a highly variable condition.
I think that is the misconception that people often have, is that if you're going to be fluent some of the time, on some of the days, that you're just fine and you're going to be fine for the rest of the time, and you're not. So it's picking up on the variability aspect of the stammer.
Hi, I'm Bob and I stammer. Wow, years ago there's no way I could have said that, because one, I couldn't say the word stammer, and also psychologically I couldn't bring myself to say it, because even though I stammered, me stammer? No, but in fact I did.
Often it's a feared situation that might be going into a certain place. It might be a feared sound that you've had difficulty in the past. But it's these situations which build up inside yourself, and you can often find that you are avoiding situations or avoiding certain people just so that you don't have to speak.
We're just the same as everybody else, apart from the fact that we have a stammer. That's the only difference. Young or old, it doesn't matter about your background, your life experiences. We're just the same as everybody else.
I think that stammering isn't that bad, and one has to cope with it by I guess meeting maximum people, and stammering would hopefully diminish away.
Big thing, you're not alone. You are unique in your own way, but the person who stammers, you're not unique, there's loads. If you can get some group work, that's great, because shared experiences, all those feelings you've had, probably others have felt them as well.
Having not had any exposure to other people with a stammer in my life, it's just nice to see people who are sharing the same experiences as me, have the same feelings, that kind of thing.
I go to a speech group which has helped me a lot, because I always used to go around with a pen and some paper. I didn't speak at all.
I think it's a sense of solidarity, to be honest with you. It's being around other people who stammer, because I come from quite a small town as well, so before I came to the group I'd only really heard a handful of people stammer, and they were all on an individual basis. So to come into a room where everybody's doing it, it's like, wow.
Having a stammer is a problem, but my experience of having a stammer is that I have met some really wonderful people.
I don't mean in the sense like I'm not the only one out there, and you're not having to apologise at all and that kind of thing.
My main thing is confidence, and that, because mine's, Like, stammer's not so much of a stammer as such, I block a lot and I try and hide it, and I used to try and hide it all the time, whereas now, like I said, and everyone more confident with it and out in open, so I just feel at ease with it so I can get on with it.
Be more relaxing and talking, be more calm and be more open when you're talking, and don't shy away or don't hide your stammer. Tell people about your stammer.
When I was younger, I always used to care a lot about what other people think about my stammer and how they're going to view me as a person. And I think something that helped me is to just really not care about what people think.
To take no notice of people. Especially some people that will torment you about your speech. So take no notice of them.
So the thing that I found quite a helpful thing is to disclose the fact that I stammer. So when I started to give talks, sort of high pressure talks on quite technical subject, what I found a very useful thing at first is to say, before I go into my talk, I'd just like to let you all know that I stammer.
To calm your own nerves, really, and also to explain a little bit to the audience that there isn't something really weird happening. It's just a simple stammering problem.
With being open about my stammer, it's really helped me. So not being covert about it, being over telling my friends, it really helped, and it's made me really happy because I found out that they really don't care about it.
Openness is a massive part of having a stammer, and as much as you tell people, as much as you think that people care about it, they don't. And if you are open and honest with them, people appreciate that. And it always helps me if I tell people I have one, and it just helps me not actually stammer as much.
I've got much more joy, I suppose, out of working on my outside effects. So it's my having eye contact with people, and I've got this vague arm that comes and does what it's like what we're during a block. So I've got more joy out of making sure I only stammer rather than trying to stop a stammer, because we all know as soon as you start to stop, it's just going to make it so much worse.
Actually, I think stammering is a condition that is characterised by trying too hard. And actually things get a lot better when one doesn't try so hard, or that's been my experience anyway. And so, yeah, I'm all for encouraging people to be lazy and not care and just be very sloppy with their speech, basically.
I'd just like to say that it's helpful to maintain a positive mindset when you have a stammer.
I think the most important thing is to be kind to yourself. So I think whenever you notice that there's something odd about you that others may notice and say, oh, you know, they can't say the name or whatever, I think we're often our worst critic and our worst judge.
Embrace, accept, be open about stammering. There's 1% of us who are not alone.
My main thing about this stammering is just to be more open about it. And if you're more open and people talk to you about it and you talk to people about it, you get more confident about it.
It happened to be more open with my stammer, but doing voluntary stammer, I'm telling the public that I'm a stammerer, you know, so they should bear with me.
People look at it as a disability, but it's not a disability in the fact. It's just that people talk a bit differently and that kind of thing. Well, there's people out there who bully people for wearing different clothes, wear glasses, or speak differently. To have more understanding.
And when I do speak to people, and I do have either a block or a problem with speech, just give me a bit of time. That's all I need. I'll still get my point across, but just bear with is the thing.
Just if someone stammers, just give them time to provide their message and that kind of thing. Some people these days are in a rush, just at a time. But you don't take 2 seconds to listen to someone.
Well, my advice to people who are speaking to, that they should be more patient. And more tolerant to stammer.
But I get the feeling that there's not much understanding out in the world how people feel when the people stammer and that kind of thing.
If you feel uncomfortable around a person who is stammering, just be patient and let them get out with it and don't interrupt them or just try and finish sentences. Just let them talk it and let them just get past it in their own time and own way, and it's just the best way to be patient with him and at all times maintain eye contact with them.
It's always really helpful when I'm talking to people if they always keep eye contact with me, because it almost ironically helps me stop stammering if I know that I have their attention.
If you're talking with a person who stammers, then maintain soft eye contact. It's best if you don't turn away and focus on what's being said as opposed to how it's being said. That might be a little challenge, and try to not finish words off. Maybe you do that for people who don't stammer. People that stammer often do not like it. And be open about stammering with them as well. You might be the first person who's ever mentioned it to them.
It's not helpful to finish my sentence for me. It is off-putting. I have to start again, and it's just not comfortable for all concerned.
It is a difficult one to get right, because some people do not like to be helped, but for others it can be okay sometimes, so perhaps just ask to try.
I remember when I was younger that the other people used to finish my sentences for me, and as I've got older and more open with my stammer, if anyone has automatically finished my sentences for me, I've just had to say, just hang on a second, I'll get there in the end, just bear with me, and it works.
When speaking with a stammerer, listen carefully, because they dislike repeating what they have just struggled to say.
To people who don't stammer, this is a big peeve for me. Don't say it's okay, or take your time, or any of those little infiller things that people say, because it just annoys. It doesn't annoys, because I know it's okay and I will take my time, so I don't need you to tell me that, because you'll just get the evil eye.
I'd really like to say to the teenagers out there, you shouldn't be shy or avoid situations. I'd say you need to put yourself out there, throw yourself into the deep end hard and fast as you can, and tackle your stammer head on, because that's exactly what I did, and now I feel great.
If you're finding it hard at school, tell your parents, And obviously your parents will have a word with your teacher and try and sort something out. Because when I was at school, there was nothing like that at all. In fact, it's quite the opposite. If you didn't fit in, you have trouble in class. It's easy to put you from front of the class to the back of the class, where you're middling nowhere. Don't let that happen to your child.
You might feel really self-conscious about your stammer and that, and your best thing is really not to try and hide it, because it just develops it even more to try and hide it, if you know what I mean. It just makes it worse for yourself. And the best thing is at the end of the day is just to go and even speak to your parents, or if you're in school, a teacher or someone, and at the end of the day, don't be ashamed about talking about it. Really, just go and find the help and talk to people about it. And the earlier you catch it, you won't have to develop when you get into your late teens, a feeling like pressurised to hide it, and obviously, hopefully, it won't block or hinder any of your life.
People can pick on will pick up on what you're most sensitive about. So if you don't care, nobody else will care either.
I know that stuff gets better, even when everything seems not to be working, and even when therapy seems not to be working, that the stuff changes in us anyway, and the general trend is that it gets easier to communicate. Stammer might not disappear, but in a way, things, what seems important becomes different, and so the fact that it's still there is no longer as important than it maybe once was.
I'd say don't let your stammer hold you back. I went to university, and I'm now at a fantastic university, and all this has been possible because I was not held back by my stammer that I have.
Don't feel like it's out everything about you, because it's not. It's just a tiny part of you, and the sooner you realise that, the better. It took me longer than most, and I wish I could go back now and do it differently.
Do not worry about a person having a stammer. Only worry about them not talking.
I would say learn more about stammering. The more you learn, the more you understand about stammering, the more confidently you can explain how it is for us, and the easier it is to spread that understanding by talking about stammering to other people.
Find a self-help group near where you live, or even further afield. We've had people driving over 70 miles to attend the group. Fantastic. And why not start one yourself? Contact the British Stammering Association for advice and help.
I just want to say that there is help out there for people who do have a stammer, and that if you go and find it, it's really helpful, because that's exactly what I did, and I tackled it, and now I feel great.
Sometimes stuff that doesn't work when you're young does work when you get older. And I'm thinking of some of the therapy techniques that it's almost like for a therapy technique to work, sometimes you have to be ready for it. And so that's a good thing to know, because just because you've tried something and it hasn't worked once, maybe 5, 10 years ago, doesn't mean that it won't work when you're older.
It's not 100% perfect, it never will be. I still get frustrated with people on the phone sometimes. But I've accepted it more or less, to try and not get frustrated.
Main thing is don't hide it, don't be ashamed of it, just try and get on with it in life and accept it's a part of you, which is going to be there probably for the rest of your life. We can't cure it, no one can cure it. Just accept it and just kind of just flow on with it and just carry on with it in everyday life.
I go out there and just say whatever I want to say.
Carry on regardless. If I stammer, the world will not end and you'll be so much happier.